All right, so we're back on the 64 Mercury Comet. We're working hard to try to get this thing to where it can go up and down the road daily, reliably. One of the things that we did yesterday is we started finishing up this trunk rim. I don't know if you saw in the video before this one, but we worked on securing the trunk rim edge so that it would hold this gasket again, and that's one of the things that we did. You can see this gasket's back in place, and I took and glued it down so the hopefully the trunk won't just pour water. We'll just have to play with it and see, and try to figure out if we have any more leaks and work on them a little bit along. This is an old rusty, crusty car, and panel fitment back in the day wasn't great to begin with. So what we're planning on doing back here today is getting this filler neck hooked up, and that way we can easily put gas in it and the tank will actually be vented. I had just a rubber cap laying over the fill hole so that couldn't get any debris or water in it, but that's not the way it needs to be done. We need to get the good original filler neck back on it, and that way you can pull up to a gas station and not have to open your trunk. So let's get going, and I'll show you the pieces and parts we've got to put it together with. It's a pretty simple little setup. This is the hard filler neck right here. I have already gone and put some body caulk around here to try to seal water from getting inside the vehicle. This is the cap that goes on it. It is actually a vented cap, and keep it from building up pressure in the system and forcing gas through the carburetor. Dug around in my hose stash, and I came up with a piece of hose. It's a little bit bigger than what I think I need. I think I need 2 1/4. This is 2 1/2, but I think I got some hose clamps and can cinch it down. If it fumes out the car, well, I'll just go back in and I'll try to find another piece of hose. But today I'm just going to try to see if we can make work what I already have. And you can tell this is some older hose I've held on to for a while. Made in USA. Not a common thing anymore. But let's get a couple clamps, get something to cut that hose with, and let's get started. Alright, well, that didn't take very long. That should have us tidied up on the fuel system and getting fuel in it easily, being able to pull up to a gas station and just going at it. What I've got to do now is I've got to get some gauges mounted. They're just hanging off the engine, and have them dangling up front here by the mirror where I can see them easily, but I'll need to get them mounted under the dash. And I think that's going to be our next project, and we've got to get unhook all that and run it through the firewall. It's a whole thing. So let's get set up. We'll do that. Alright, well, we got the gauges mounted under the dash. You can see us there in that time lapse. What you couldn't see is what I was doing out here, and I'll bring you in real quick and show you that. We wanted to secure the wiring and the capillary tube for the temperature gauge. You want to make sure all that stuff's secure. You don't want it just flopping around. in your engine bay, getting on the exhaust manifold and whatnot and burning up. What in the world? Go on now. Bugs in Mississippi, man. Good grief. It's that time of year. All right, we used to call these P-clips when I worked at the Freightliner dealer. When you look at it, it kind of resembles a P. It's just a line clip. If I see one laying around, I'll pick it up, hang on to it. You never know when you're going to need it. Bring it down here. I'll show you what I did. This here capillary tube. See right there on the front of the valve cover, that P-clip is securing that capillary tube right here, and it's got it secured so it can't just flop around. I have it coming over, and I just tied it in with the wiring harness here, and just kind of follows the same contours, the spark plug wires and all that, and it's secured. Between zip ties and stuff like that, routing is important. Making sure your stuff is secured and, like I said, routed correctly, it makes a difference. So next we're going to get in here. We've got the upper radiator hose, thermostat housing, gasket, and thermostat to put in this car. All right, well, we got our vacuum line secured, and we got all right, so we got the upper radiator hose, thermostat back in it, the bypass hose, and we used one of these little plugs. I hate these. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them because they're made out of whatever kind of rubber. The right there, see that plug right there? I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate those caps. They have a tendency, because of the rubber and where they're made, they dry rot real quick. So just keep a real close eye on it. And if they start getting cracks in them, go ahead and replace it. Don't just wait until it blows out and you got coolant everywhere. But like I said, new upper radiator hose, new thermostat, new bypass hose, and I think we're ready to fill it back up with water. And I mentioned that I like tidying stuff up. We got the vacuum line here for the vacuum advance to the bottom of the carburetor. I ran it right along the fuel line and then tucked it in there and got it hooked up. Like I said, this is not a show piece, but I just want things tidy. I don't want things to be a problem. If you got things secure, you have less chance of having a problem. So I need to get some coolant for this engine. Right now I'm just been running water. We're going to do water one more time, kind of give it a flush, and then I will get some fresh 50/50 coolant and get in this thing, and we'll get it protected, so to speak, from corrosion and freezing up this winter. And after we get through filling up the radiator, we're going to swat this bug. We're going to work on a new ground cable, because all I had when I started putting the car together was a red one, and I had to wrap it around the shock tower and then back to the battery, and it's not the right length or the right color. So we're going to I have one here, right here, and I believe it's off an S10, and we're going to put an end on it and get it run to the battery. It's the right color and everything. GM ground cable. Will it work on a Ford? Alright, so we have a proper ground cable now. See it right there, it goes down and around, hooks to the front of the water pump. I also have another ground that you can't see. It comes off the bottom of the block and actually hooks to the chassis of the vehicle to to go ahead and bond the grounds together so that anywhere you get on the vehicle, you've got a good ground. Can't have enough grounds, in my opinion. The more you have, the better off you are. So we're just going to keep pushing forward. Don't know what we're going to do next. Hang in there. Might be fun. All right, so off camera, it's been a little while. I have taken the car and driven it, went down the road, come back, let it sit and idle. Temperature is marginal. It's right around 200, 205, sitting at dead idle. I'm going to add another fan, and we've got a fan controller. I don't know that I'm going to hook up the fan controller right now. I'm probably just going to try to get the fans mocked in place and see if they are actually going to keep it cool as I want to try to keep it. Once we get that situated and we know that the fans are going to keep it cool, then we're going to go and hook up the fan controller. It's pretty straightforward. It is actually a fan controller to run 2 fans. So adding this extra fan, I'm probably going to have to upgrade the alternator, which I was already planning on doing anyway. I have one wire that is, I'm not exactly sure what the power output on it is, but it is a Power Master, so it should be, I would think, 80 or 90 amp alternator. We'll get it out when we get ready to do that install and look at it. But I know it's going to be more than this one that is on here. This will be an emergency backup to get you off the side of the road, but it's only about 40 amps, and I really want to up the amperage on the alternator. So let's get in here and get to hooking up fans and trying to figure out what we're going to do to keep this thing cool. All right, so let's take a look at what we're doing here. Let me cut this fan back. Speaking of fans, keeping me cool. This is a 16-inch. I have it set up in a pusher configuration, not a fan. It's working, like I said, but it's marginal. I have bought, this is a derail. It is a very thin line, and I'm going to set it up to be a puller. I'm going to put it over on the inside, and I'm hoping that it will assist this fan in getting more air through the radiator and help cool it off. Doral top shelf, really good fan. So yeah, that's what we're fixing to do. All right, well, we got it up and running. We're letting it come up to operating temperature. Feels like thermostat. Let's see if we get any pressure. No pressure yet, but we'll be watching to see when the thermostat opens. And when it does, as soon as the thermostat opens, I'll hook up the fans, because that's when I'm going to have the controller set to around 180 degrees, kick on, start cooling, and that's when your thermostat opens. So let's get over here and look in the radiator. Not flowing any coolant yet. All right, thermostat's open. as you can tell, we put the sun to bed. We did test with the new fan, got it all in place, and what we found was we first fired it up, it was holding around 190, which is acceptable. I can live with that. That's going to be okay. And the longer we let it sit and run, the warmer it started to get. And I got to doing a little looking, and what was going on is the fans are slowing down. Well, why are the fans slowing down? This alternator, one-wire alternator that I have on here, is not keeping up with the fans and keeping the battery charged at idle. That is what I'm surmising is going on. So I've got another alternator. I've got a PowerMaster alternator that I mentioned earlier in the video that we're going to put on this car. So I think that will fix our problem. I think that is the only problem. I'm going to test it tomorrow, and I'm going to leave. What I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the battery charger hooked up to the vehicle, and I'm going to just let it idle. And by having the battery charger hooked up, that'll keep the speed up on the fans. And if it stays at 190 at idle for, I don't know, say 30, 40 minutes and doesn't creep up, that tells me that my scenario that I have come up with as the problem is probably going to fix it. So while I'm getting ready to do that, why don't you go out and watch another one of my videos coming on the screen right now.